The A's need to make some serious changes to their pitching staff going into 2027, and I got some names the A's can look at.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On A's, welcome to the show. I'm Kyle Morrison. Later in the show, at the end of the show, we're going to go over your comments as we usually do in our final segment. Before that, we're going to go over A's trade targets that the A's could go after as we head into 2027 season. But first, we are going to be going and looking at A's free agent targets for 2027. It's an off day when I'm recording this show here on Thursday. Not a lot to talk about really in A's world, aside from the fact that they've just taken 4 out of their last 5 games, and they have taken 2 out of 3 from 2 straight playoff contenders. But it's never too early to look ahead, particularly when your team is out of playoff contention. And I really appreciate all of you in the comments. You've given me lots of great suggestions for guys the A's can go out and get. Let's take a look now at a comprehensive list of guys that the A's might be able to look at. So naturally, we're just going to start off here, and we're going to take a look at the pending 2027 free agents. Now, again, all of this is so in the air because of the lockout that could be coming here in 2027. Again, we can be optimistic, hope that's not going to happen, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like we are heading for some sort of a lockout. So we don't know how all of this is going to look. But still, there are some names here that I think the A's would really be in good position here if they take a look at some of these guys. So we're going to start off here with starting pitchers. And the reason we're going to start with starting pitchers is because the bullpen is just a piece of work. Like, the A's need to do a ton of work on the bullpen if they want any shot at contending coming up in 2027. But I do still think they need to make some moves in the starting rotation as well. They need to go out and get themselves one really good starting pitcher, in my opinion, and a few pretty good depth pieces. So who are some guys that the A's could go after here in 2027? The first name that really just jumps off the page to me is a guy that I've really been hoping the A's would go after for a while now, and that is Joe Ryan, who is in his last year with the Twins. He does have a mutual option with Minnesota, but it's only for $13 million. I would really imagine that Joe Ryan is not going to take that mutual option. Again, I would think that he would want to get to the open market as soon as he possibly can, because right now, if his value stays where it's at, he should be making over $20 million a year in the free agent market. And unlike Luis Severino, Joe Ryan is a guy that I would absolutely give over $20 million a year. I know that the A's might be a little tepid as far as wanting to go and give this kind of money to another starting pitcher, but I think Joe Ryan is absolutely worth it. Again, this is a guy, he's a NorCal guy. He's nasty. He's fun. He's got a great character. He's got great charisma. I just think that he would be absolutely perfect for the A's here as they head into their final year in Northern California. Some other guys that I think the A's could take a look at, Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray has a mutual option coming up here. Now, it is for $30 million, so I don't know whether Sonny Gray is going to take that deal or not. Right now he's making $25 million, so it's actually a little bit over what he is making currently. But we're talking about a former athletic, someone who was awesome during his Oakland A's days. Why not reunite with him? And then you're talking about Sonny Gray with JT Ginn, Jacob Lopez, Gage Jump, and Luis Severino. I'll take that 5 all day. Robbie Ray could be a guy the A's could go after. Look, you're probably not looking at a 1A with Robbie Ray, but you're looking at a 1B and at the very least a 2 with Robbie Ray in the starting rotation. He has been phenomenal for the Giants, and he's been good for the Padres so far as well. I did not realize, and this is my own fault, I did not realize Luis Severino has a player option coming up. He's going to take it, but just something interesting as I'm looking at all of these numbers here. Kevin Gausman could be another guy the A's could go after. I would imagine that he'd be looking at more of a short-term deal. Right now, he's making $22 million in the last year of his contract. Again, he was just traded from the Blue Jays to the Cubs. He's in the last year of a 6-year contract that he signed with Toronto after playing with the Giants from 2019 to 2021. Actually, I think it was 2020 to 2021. He's a really good pitcher. He's very consistent. The reason he's so consistent is because he really only has 2 pitches. He has the fastball and he has the splitter. And a lot of his stuff breaks down, which I'm a big fan of. Again, considering that the A's are playing in a hitter's park and they will be playing in a hitter's park going forward. Jose Barrios, he's got an opt-out coming here. He might opt in, but I don't know what's going to happen. He could be a guy the A's could go after. I know that he's been unsteady as of late, but he's just, a really good starting pitcher when he's at his best. I think Jack Flaherty could be a really good option. Jack Flaherty, he's kind of struggled with injuries this year, but again, you're not just looking for the top-level guys. You're looking for guys kind of in that middle of the rotation that can fill out the depth. Jack Flaherty could definitely be one of those guys. How about Nick Pivetta? Nick Pivetta, who has been arguably an ace type of pitcher for the San Diego Padres when he's been healthy, he's got an opt-out for $14 million. I would imagine he's going to take that opt-out. I think he could make more than that in the open market, and I'd be happy if the A's were willing to give it to him. A guy that some of you suggested in the comments yesterday, Nick Martinez, he's got a mutual option coming up here for $20 million. I would imagine the Rays are probably going to decline that mutual option just the way that they work. I don't think they're going to want to pay a guy who's 36 years old $20 million after paying him $13 million in 2026. So he could be a guy that the A's could absolutely go after. Veteran presence amongst a very, very young pitching staff. That could be a good option as well. How about Brady Singer? Brady Singer has a lot of promise. And again, you're not looking at a number one type of guy, but you are looking at a guy who could fill out depth in the starting rotation. He's an unrestricted free agent. I really like him as an option. If you really want to get, play some poker, Shane Bieber. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, when he was at his best, was one of the nastiest pitchers I have seen in recent memory. He could be someone that I would absolutely want to see the A's go after if they're willing to. He's making $13 million this year with Toronto. He's going to be unrestricted free agent. Why not? Kyle Freeland, I know that he's got up and down numbers, but at least he knows how to pitch in a pitcher's yard. He could be a guy that the A's could bring on very cheap to kind of be rotation depth. I could see that being good. Sandy Alcantara's got a $21 million club option. Normally, I would say with the way Sandy Alcantara's pitched this year, that any team would take that $21 million club option. But we're talking about the Marlins, who make the A's in many ways look like big spenders sometimes. So the Marlins, I would not be surprised if they decline that club option. And if so, imagine if the A's could get Sandy Alcantara. And that's not just a guy who would be good for the A's in 2027. We're talking about a guy who, you sign him to a long-term deal, could be kind of the face of the pitching rotation going into Vegas. And of course, the A's are looking for star power as they head into Las Vegas. Some other depth guys the A's could go out and get: Tyler Mahle. He's been really good for the Braves ever since being traded by the Giants. He's someone who you could bring in as kind of a depth piece. Patrick Sandoval, you could bring in as a depth piece. He's someone else that I think could be really good. Casey Mize is an unrestricted free agent. The Tigers has traded him to San Diego. He's someone with a ton of talent who has shown flashes of kind of that ace potential that people really thought that he had when he came up into the big leagues out of the Detroit system. So he's someone that I think the A's could absolutely go after. Foster Griffin, who may be the surprise starting pitcher of the year, an older rookie who was phenomenal with the Nationals, got traded to the Guardians. I was really surprised when the Nationals actually traded him, because at the time the Nationals were still competing for a playoff spot. He's another guy that I would absolutely love to see the A's go after as well. And then we'll close it out here with Freddie Peralta. Freddie Peralta, who, look, he struggled this year ever since being traded to the Mets and then traded subsequently to the Rays. But he's just got such good stuff. And, I think that we've seen good starting pitchers, great starting pitchers, in fact, have down years here and there. I don't think that's a reason to necessarily disqualify Freddie Peralta going forward. I mean, he's got great stuff. He's shown that he can be successful at the big league level. I would love to see the A's give Freddie Peralta another shot. And, again, he's pitching better in Tampa Bay now than he did in New York. I think that Freddie Peralta may just be one of those guys who likes the small market. He likes being in those smaller market atmospheres where maybe not all the pressure is on him every single time he goes out there like it would be in New York. There's some other good names on this list that, are going to be free agents coming up. Eric Fetty, Walker Buehler. These are more depth pieces. But if there's anybody else that you guys think the A's should go out and try to get as far as a starting pitcher is concerned, please let me know in the comments. I think that, there's a lot of good possibilities. As far as relief pitchers are concerned, again, the A's are going to have to do a lot to improve their relief core. But there's a few guys that I think the A's could go out and get. Raisel Iglesias would be awesome. Pete Fairbanks, I know he's had a down year. He could be great. I think Helsley will probably take his club option to stay. with Baltimore. Even AJ Minter, who we just saw with the Twins, that's a really good reliever. I wouldn't even be upset at Kenley Jansen or Emilio Pagan. He's another guy, a former A, who I think would be really, really good depth piece. Kittredge, Peterson, Bednar, Jimenez, Gregory Soto, Matt Strahm, Yimi Garcia, Jose Alvarado. I will take all of them. Paul Sewald, even, who just got DFA'd. I'll take him as well. Jason Adam, he's good. Evan Phillips, Brian Abreu, Pierce Johnson. All these guys, I would be happy if the A's were to go out and get a lot of them. Look, and I'm not expecting the A's to go out and get, all the top relievers in the market. I understand that is completely unrealistic, but I do A's go out and get some top relievers off the market, even if it's like a Garrett Whitlock, or even if it is a Pete Fairbanks or an AJ Minter. You just got to get some dudes in this bullpen you can rely on. A David Bednar, something like that. Gregory Soto, who has great stuff, even though he's a little up and down. Even Jose Alvarado, who's had his issues off the field, but has phenomenal stuff. Brian Abreu has been awful this year, but at his best, he's shown that he can be one of the best relievers in all of Major League Baseball. So yes, of course, I want to see the A's go out and get some of these high leverage, top of the market guys for sure. But even more important than that, and we've seen this throughout the season, what the A's really need in their relief corps is depth. The A's need to go out and they just need to sign 15 to 20 relievers, all different levels, all different specialties, because this bullpen really is a case of having to build from the ground up. Can we name more than 3 guys in the current bullpen right now that we would be confident in going into 2027? The only guys that I can really think of, maybe Alvarado, Medina, and Hogan Harris. Those are the only 3 guys. I like Scott Blewett, but I think Scott Blewett, despite the fact he's looked really good so far here in 2027, is still going to have to earn a spot on the team because he's kind of a career quadruple A guy. So we'll see what the A's decide to do, but I think it's very, very important for them to go out and just get a bunch of guys. Because the other thing about trying to build a bullpen in Major League Baseball is that it's not straightforward like other positions. Not that really building a team in any way is straightforward, but bullpens really are kind of a flip of the coin. You'll have guys who are great one year, awful the next year, and then are great the year after that. So as many guys as the A's can bring in, start sending out invites to spring training like they're RSVPs to a big wedding. Like just send out invites to spring training to as many of these guys as you can. There's a lot of depth. Ryan Yarbrough would even be a guy I'd be happy. Tim Hill, left-handed specialist. Stephen Okert has been great for the Astros this year. Alex Vesia, pride of Cal State East Bay. He's a Hayward guy. You could bring him into the mix. Taylor Rogers, he's been a good reliever. Even a JT Brubaker and Andres Munoz, who's got a club option. There's a lot of guys that the A's could go out and get, even guys who've had down years this year. Give them another shot. Who knows? Maybe coming to the A's kind of reinvigorates them. We've seen the A's do that in their past, particularly with relievers. So again, if the A's are going to have to do a lot in the free agent market to bring guys in, the other thing they're going to have to do is scour the trade market, and we're going to go over some trade options as well. Support for today's episode comes from Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When workplace chaos hits and you need the right hire, Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and location, so less time gets spent searching and more time gets spent finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Taking a look at the A's, it's clear some of the moves that they have made here, especially recently with all the injuries, have really, really helped them. One guy who had a big RBI triple yesterday, Alika Williams, a waiver claim, someone that the A's went out and evaluated and found who has been a big addition to the team, and Indeed allows you to do similar things with your own business, evaluate and find the right personnel. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. So we went after some free agent targets the A's could go after. Now let's look at some trade targets. And to get started with these trade targets, literally on Sport Track, I looked up 2028 MLB free agents. So these are guys going to their last years of their contracts in 2027. So maybe some guys that teams may be willing to trade in order to get them off of their books. So taking a look, you got guys like Bo Bichette, who will be who has a player option after this upcoming season. He's a guy that I would be really up to possibly trading for. Someone who is a infielder who the A's can add, who might not be doing so well in New York. Even a guy like Nolan Arenado would be someone I'd be up for trading for. These are some of the position players that I really, really like. But even beyond that, let's take a look at some of the starters and maybe relief pitchers that the A's could possibly trade for as well. Starting off with the Detroit Tigers, Framber Valdez. I would imagine that Detroit is probably going to want to get rid of Framber Valdez. He's going into his last year of his contract coming up here in 2027, and he could be a guy the A's could go out and get. Now, I don't really like Framber Valdez as a person. I think he's kind of a doofus, but someone who you could put at the top of the rotation who could really help the team out. Even Zack Wheeler, he's only he's 38 years old, but the dude does not look like he's going away anytime. If the A's are willing to take on a lot of money, who knows what this Phillies team is going to look like after this year? I mean, the Phillies, they're really going into their last year of serious contention. So Zack Wheeler could be a guy the A's could go out and get as well. Hey, maybe this whole Dodgers Mark Walter thing ends up destroying the organization. If that's the case, Tyler Glasnow could be up for a trade. He could be a guy the A's could go out and get. Even a guy like Chris Sale could be a guy the A's could go out and make a trade for as well. Some other guys here that the A's could go out and get. Luis Castillo, he's been pitching much better for the Chicago White Sox as of late. Pablo Lopez, the Twins, they're going to be cutting payroll. He's been really, really good. I know he's coming off of injury, but he's a guy I would love to put at the top of the A's rotation. Just a guy who, when he's at his best, is a really, really good player. And there's a few others on here as well. Now, of course, we talked a lot about starting pitching in the earlier segment as far as free agents are concerned. So who are some relievers that the A's could go out and get? Well, if he accepts his option, Ryan Helsley could be a really good option. Someone that you could plug into the bullpen who has a real good chance of being a high leverage reliever for the A's. Or even a guy like Aroldis Chapman. Aroldis Chapman could be a really, really good option. I know he's 40 years old, but you guys watched him. You guys watched him when the A's were playing Boston. He's really, really good still. So he could be a guy that could absolutely be an option. Jeff Hoffman. Remember, he was a closer for the Blue Jays. He was a closer for a World Series team in 2025. He would be a guy I would love to go out and get. Lots of experience as well. Jordan Hicks has nasty stuff. He can give you innings out of the bullpen. He can also give you innings as a starter. He would be a guy that I would really, really love to go get. And there's a bunch of other options too. Reynaldo Lopez, Emilio Pagan, who he's got an option, so he may even be a free agent. We talked about him in the last segment. Even a guy like Garrett Whitlock again. A guy like even Jake Junis. He's someone who could be really, really good depth. There's a lot of options the A's could go out. Some other guys on this list. Will Vest, he's been really, really good with Detroit. His time there. Anthony Banda, I mean, he kind of bounces around. Someone else. Again, there's a lot of guys on this market, even guys that they might be able to get, just very cheap by trading possible prospects or something. Felix Bautista, Andres Munoz, if that club option gets accepted. Brock Stewart, he's a guy for the Dodgers who's only making $1 million next year. Or you could go out and trade for him as well, and he's pitched in some high leverage situations, not just for the Dodgers, but for the Minnesota Twins as well. So those are some guys that the A's could trade for. Even Griffin Jacks, that's a guy who I would love to go out and get. So what do you guys think? Any other guys on the trade market that the A's could possibly go out and get? I know someone suggested Reed Detmers the other day. He would be a guy that I would love to see the A's go out and get as well. So lots of options for the A's. But the point of this whole show, of this whole segment, of everything, is that the A's really need to just overhaul the bullpen pitching. And they need to go out and get some starters too. If the A's want to be serious about contending coming up here in 2027, they're going to have to make some moves for arms, and quite a few moves for arms, in order to make that happen. All right, let's take a look at your comments. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place. Odoo is one platform to manage, grow, and scale your business. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working together towards the same goal. And that's true in sports, just like it is in business. Another move that the A's made was bringing Brian Serven into the organization, and he's been someone who's really been a godsend for the A's here towards the latter half of the season. A guy who has been a good backup catcher for the Athletics, someone who I think has an opportunity to make the team next year. And again, it's someone that the A's were able to go out and evaluate maybe under the radar and bring into their organization. And Odoo allows you the opportunity to do the same thing for your organization. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Odoo is one platform to manage, grow, and scale your business. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. All right, it's time to hit the comments. My favorite part of the show where I get to see what you guys have to say. And we're going to start off with the spoiler A's strike again and take a look at some of the comments that you guys left on that episode. First and foremost, at OrdinaireCade00. I guess I got to watch the game since my two favorite players are being mentioned. What are the two? Oh, what was in the description? Alika Williams and Jeff McNeil. You must be a real fan of depth infielders. Remind me a lot of the MLB Hall of Pretty Good account on Instagram. I don't know if you guys have checked out that account on Instagram, but it's pretty cool. They do a lot of stuff where they'll show like great seasons by seemingly average players. And Alika Williams and Jeff McNeil, I think, will be up for MLB Hall of Pretty Good candidacy soon enough. All right, next comment. At AMDiamond1-PNF. Love seeing La Dog heat up. Hopefully Lopez could get us a dominant quality start tomorrow and get us a win. Love the content, Kyle. Keep it up. Well, I appreciate the compliment at AMDiamond1-PNF. Excuse me, P9F. Wouldn't want to get that wrong. Lawrence Butler has been really heating up. And I have to say that he's really been heating up ever since I called him out for a lack of hustle. I'm not going to take any credit for that. I doubt he watches the show. But I do think that it's really, really nice to see Lawrence Butler finally kind of showing us the Lawrence Butler we thought we were going to see all season long. This is a guy with immense talent. There is no question about that. That's the reason the A's signed him to a long-term contract before 2025. The issue is he's just had some real attitude problems. But one thing I saw in Game 2 against the Twins in this last series was a hustle play where he hustled from first all the way around to home to score a big run for the A's in that game. And those are the type of moves that we probably don't see Lawrence Butler make if this were any other time of the year. So I am excited to see Lawrence Butler hopefully keep up this momentum as he heads deeper and deeper into this season, and then hopefully keeps it up into 2027. And yes, I hope Jacob Lopez is able to get a quality start against the Orioles coming up here on Friday. At Jackson McGinnis-Z7N, I could see some guys go to Las Vegas, such as Jacob Lopez, Alika Williams, and Henry Bolte, etc. All those guys have potential to be studs and allow their current core of players help them get better each and every day. I definitely think Jacob Lopez is going to be in Vegas. I mean, look, he had a horrible start to the 2026 season, but other than that, what we saw from him in 2025 and what we've seen from him from his last 7 or 8 starts, he's been an all-star level type pitcher, and he's someone who is very unique that hitters have a hard time eyeing up. He throws that fastball that looks like it's rising when it comes at you, even though it's not super high velocity. It's a much higher perceived velocity than what a lot of the radar guns will show you. So absolutely Henry Bolte, I said on the show yesterday, I think that guy is the center fielder of the future for the A's. Alika Williams is an interesting guy because I'm going to be honest with you, I've never been a big Alika Williams believer. I thought it was kind of cool that he was having some good moments, but I thought he would always come back to earth. I mean, he's putting together a really, really good season at this point, and it's hard to really call it anything else besides a breakout year. An OPS over 720. He's shown that he can hit, which he has never done in his major league career before. So absolutely, I would be super open to keeping Alika Williams around and just keeping him around as a depth piece. He's very valuable, not only because he's been showing he can hit, but he's also very valuable for the original reason the A's got him, which is that he can play multiple infield positions very well, shortstop, third base, second base. And so, yes, I would hope that Alika Williams does stick around for Vegas because he's shown himself to be a very good player here in 2026. At Gilbert Rivera 3640. Except for Kurtz, which players would give us back the most prospects or veteran pitchers in a trade scenario? Shea, Leo DeVries. If so, do it. We have suitable replacements for them. How else we are going to get good pitching prospects without a trade? I don't see the owner spending big money this offseason. This is a very, very, very important comment. And the reason is because I just told you all the guys I would hope the A's would go out and get, including trade scenarios. But in order to get someone in a trade, you have to trade someone that the other team wants, right? So the A's are going to have to trade. Now, I would really love to see the A's dig into maybe some of their outfield depth. There's some guys down in the minors who are even playing well, like Devin Taylor. Some other guys like Lawrence Butler, who I don't think they're going to be able to trade, even a Denzel Clark, even a Brent Rooker, who will play the outfield sometimes. If you can get someone really good, even a Tyler Soderstrom, I would think might be a willing guy to try to look to trade. But as far as some of the guys you mentioned, I think the guy who is probably the most valuable out of that group, if you really want to get a high-level starting pitcher, is probably Shea Langeliers. Now, Leo DeVries is a great prospect. I mean, he's a top 3 prospect in all of baseball, so that cannot be understated. But really good catchers who not just handle the pitching staff well, but also hold their own at the plate. And Shea doesn't just hold his own. He's one of the best hitting catchers in all of baseball, are so rare and so hard to come by, which is why I've been, up until the trade deadline, which is when he got hurt, I was really against trading Shea until it became very clear that was going to be the best way for the A's to restock the pitching. So look, if the A's get a great offer for Shea in the offseason, and I'm talking like blow your socks off type offer, like I'm talking like A1 type starting pitcher, great prospects, like I'd be okay with pulling the trigger, to be honest with you. And then you can maybe re-sign Jonah Heim to be the starting catcher. But it's got to be a great deal. It's got to be a great offer. And then Leo DeVries, I don't see the A's really wanting to trade him, again, unless the offer just totally blows their socks off. But I appreciate the comment. Those are some good names to bring up. At Elephant 2024, I realize the A's are playing better, which is good to see, but haven't we seen this before? In both 2024 and 2025, as well as parts of this year, you see a team that looks like it is on the precipice of being a contending team for a wild card, if not a division title. The problem is it has not been able to be sustained over the course of most of a season, if not an entire season. And what makes this year even worse is how god-awful the AL West is. The Seattle Mariners are 6 under 500 and are still in division/wild card contention. No, I completely agree with you. I think that really 2024, 2025, 2026, it's been the same talking point. The A's overcook the spaghetti. They suck for a period of time. And then they start playing better later in the season. We're like, okay, yeah, it was bad this year, but get ready for next year. And you just can't keep on doing that. At a certain point, the team has to deliver. So I completely agree with what you're saying. And you are right. You're also right that if the A's were even halfway okay, not even like average, if they were just okay, which I consider to be below average, I don't know, they would be in playoff contention right now. You said it. The Mariners are horrible, and they're still in playoff contention. So yes, I completely agree with you. Let's not give this A's team too much credit for doing the same thing they've done the last couple of years. Appreciate it, folks. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back with another show reacting to the weekend series against the Orioles, and we'll see if the A's can get another win against a playoff contender.